Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Workplace Delight. And today I get to hang out with my friend, my passionate friend, my heartfelt friend. His name is Jesse Martin. He's a speaker and a coach and has a company called J Martin Training. And his passion is helping people reach their dreams. So, can you tell us a little? Well, first of all, welcome to the show, Jesse.
Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me be here with you and talking again. I
Dude,
look.
it's an absolute joy. We got to meet the other day at my favorite breakfast spot, Urban Egg, and man, we met for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
It was great.
Oh, it
It-
was wild, man. It was a wild and raucous table. Is raucous the right word? I don't know. So your dream, one of your passions is to help people reach their dreams. So let's start there. I'd love for you to tell me about that.
yeah. When I was a kid and I had first thought about helping other people because I was helped, I heard that famous Zig Ziglar quote: "If you help enough people reach their dreams, then you might get your dreams, thrown in." There's different little versions on the end of that, but okay. And then I learned it wasn't just a way to get to my dream, it's actually really fun to see other people come alive. And I was like, "No, dude, I want to do this. This is not just a way to get what I want from that quote, but like this is where life is. Like, oh my gosh, if I can help this person break a barrier because I know somebody or I've broken that barrier, let's do it. Let's make it happen."
Yeah, man, I love that. I love that. So you said Zig Ziglar. I've heard a lot of, I haven't listened to him at all, but I've heard a lot of people quote him. I probably should. Um, are you familiar with a book called The Go Giver by
Yeah.
Bob Burg and John David? How familiar are you with it?
I read it like 2 years ago. Someone gave
Okay.
it to me.
Yeah. Because that sentiment sounds like it's straight out of that book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's
helping people.
yeah, a lot of people talk about in Patrick Lucioni's the book Naked is the same kind of a framing. You serve so you don't have to sell. And if you're in a business, you hope it leads to a contract, but no matter what, you just serve. And so I love those those are principles. They're eternal. They're not just a new fad thing. That's why they're written about in so many different ways. But yeah, I agree. The Go Giver, it's a great book.
Well, there's an idea underneath that, this idea that you're really, my job when I get out of bed in the morning is to go and just create value in the world, right? And then if that becomes my primary focus, then it decomplicates life in a lot of ways because I don't always have to play the angles of, well, what do I get out of it?
Yeah. There was a kid in a men's meeting I was at. I say kid. When I'm gonna be 50 this month. So everybody in their 40s or lower, they're kids to me. But this kid, he was probably 22, 23. He came up to me at the end of a men's meeting I was at yesterday. And he's like, "Man, how do I be a leader? How do I move up? I want to do this." And I gave him the book, The Fred Factor. If you've
Yeah.
ever heard of that.
No.
But it's about a true story of a postman in Denver. So you think about that job. Most people don't like to work for the government. Just sorry if you work for the government, but most people talk about it bad. He's a postman, but this speaker that he served, I mean, he just went above and beyond. When FedEx would mess up and put its box in the wrong place, the postman would fix it. When he went out of town, even if he didn't fill out that like vacation request, he would hide the mail and keep it and bring it back to him. On his day off, he noticed something on his porch and he tweaked it. And this guy's like, there's no incentivizing, there's no
Yep.
tips. He works for the post office and he adds value. And so
Yep.
the book's called The Fred Factor. So I gave that book to this kid and I said, "Bro, if you just come into every room and go, how can I add value? You will be a leader. Whether they give you a title or they pay you, you'll be a leader." And I said, "Look at this room. There's 103 guys in there. It's pretty good for us." And I was like, "How would you be a leader today?" "Here." And he's like, "I don't know. I don't have a title. I don't have responsibility." I was like, "Well, maybe if you were a host and not a guest, you would add value."
Yeah.
Who's sitting alone? Is there trash on the floor? What if
Yep.
this was your living room? So I love doing that, helping people open their eyes. Like if you just like this postman, he just did small things, but it was so radical from
Yeah.
this guy's experience of any other post person. I love that kind of thing.
Man, so there's a book called by Bob Bodine called The Power of Who.
Hmm.
And very similar. I love Bob, man. Bob's just such a positive, infectious human being in his writing, and I've gotten to interact with him a bit over LinkedIn. He's a cool dude.
Spell it out
Uh,
for me. I'm gonna write that note down on my phone here.
Yeah, now you'll like it. But he talks about this guy named Charlie the shoe shiner, and Charlie basically, I don't somewhere, I don't know where this is at, but Charlie had a shoe shine business. He had a cool, like really interesting, colorful past, but ended up as a shoe shine guy. But the line, like he would minister to the hearts of the people as he shined their shoes to such a degree that he became a famous shoe shiner, and there would be a line to get those precious moments with him,
Wow.
because he brought so much wisdom and genuine care to the people that were with him,
That's
right? To where it's like, right, like he's doing the same thing that Fred's doing,
that's
which is
cool.
bringing his particular brand of value to the world.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, life lived halfway is not any fun. And you might as well just go all out. And I think eventually you do see benefit, that is monetary, that is positional, that is more friends, more networks, whatever. But if you just do it anyway, it's just more fun. Even if you don't see what other people see, it's just more fun. Halfway, no one's enjoying it. Man, let's do your job the best you can. And pretty much that's who the boss is going to give a raise to and going to promote anyway, but it's just fun, dude. Like,
Yeah.
let's go for it. Let's go.
Yeah, man. So you've said fun a couple times in this call. So that sounds like a part of maybe your identity, a part of your values. Tell me about fun, and how that factors in your
Yeah,
calling.
I didn't grow up fun. I was pretty serious. I wanted to get out of where I was pretty fast. And so everything was very serious. Goal achiever, go for it all. But when I got around people who were really making things happen, I noticed they had a sense of humor and I didn't. I noticed that they didn't take everything so seriously and I did. So I was starting to ask questions, man, how can I relax more? How can I ease up more? And then I started learning, oh, you want to lead people? Man, if you're uptight and just driven, you're going to drive people away. And then my first few leaderships, that's what I did. I just drove everybody hard.
Yeah.
And so I think fun has probably only been in my leadership journey the last 10 years. It wasn't in there the previous 20 because I didn't value it. But the more I got around people like this is a long term good characteristic of health, physically, personally. This is what will draw more people to you. And again, you do care about people. I cared about people and I want them to like their job. Dude, this is another major component. Like in a restaurant, I would take ice and I would throw it at kids. And they're, I mean, I'm the boss. I'm the hiring, the firing. And they're like, what? We never had a general manager throw ice at us. And then I take fries and I throw it at the fry guy. I mean, we're busy. We got
Yeah.
2,000 guests a day, but it's so intense and we're pushing hard and our standards are high. And I don't lower the standard, but if you have fun while you're doing it, you know, uh, I went to a cool experience, another book, Fish. Have you ever read that book?
No.
So Fish's tagline is work made fun gets done. And it's based on
Yeah.
the Pikes Peak Place fish market. So I read the book in my 20s and I didn't believe it because I was so
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
And so I flew to Seattle. I'd never been to Washington. I flew to Seattle and I went to that iconic little market where there's the first Starbucks and there's also this famous fish market. And the whole book's basis is if these guys can throw frozen, cold, stinky, huge, heavy fish around a labor blue collar job while they sing songs, which is what you do. You go and watch the show. They sing
Yeah.
songs. If they can do that, then dude, your job, you can smile, you can laugh, you can have fun because work made fun gets done. So then I went and I saw it. I took pictures. I interviewed the guys because I kind of like don't believe what people say on the first round.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, do you really like doing this? Do you really like singing these songs? This is a show. Are you paid for it? You know, are you really a fish guy who is boxing and selling fish? He's like, oh yeah, dude, it's awesome. And so I was like, wow, work made fun gets done. Okay. I've got
Yeah.
to add that to my my repertoire, my portfolio.
Yeah, dude. Ah, man, I love that. And I love even just the type of dude that you are is the type of dude that would fly to Seattle to see for yourself, and ask questions. It says a lot about you. So let's follow that thread a little bit. Your origin story. You used to be a leader or a manager who would drive your people super hard. Not because you didn't care about them, but because there were some things you hadn't learned. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got around high performing leaders who grew things. I had a couple of blessing opportunities where we're in a nonprofit space in a youth group, and we took there was a leader that left, and there was no leader, and me and a
Yep.
couple of students were leaders, and we grew it to the highest it had ever been. And so that brought some arrogance and pride. Oh man, look at us. We don't even know what we're doing and we're making things happen. And that would go on. But that would drive more seriousness because I'm like, oh, I gotta make it bigger, better, gotta multiply it, gotta be the best, the fastest, the strongest. Until I had another position where it was pretty sizable, and I brought in a coach, and I never even knew what a coach was besides a football coach. And
Yep.
but this guy was smart. And I said, "Hey man, can you come teach our leaders how to do leadership?" And he goes, "Hey, can you leave the room?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I'm going to let you know how you're really doing because you're going to get out of the room so they can tell me." I was like, "What the freak? Are you crazy, bro?" I'd never heard of this, man. Am I about to get like, fired? Like what's it? But I liked the guy. I knew the guy and I was so hungry. I trusted him. I was like, okay, never heard about this, never read about this. All right. So I sat in the hotel lobby while he took my team for an hour, about 30, 35 people. And then he just did a lot of diagnosis with them. And then we went back to his leadership teachings. And then when the whole event was over, he sat down with me and coached me. It's my first time I was ever coached in an official way. And he's like, man, your team, I asked them what words describe you. Do you want to know out of the 35 people what word came up the most? I was like, sure. I'm all excited. Like, yeah, he's driven. He's a leader. They're like intimidating. I was like, wow. He's like, if you don't change in the next 6 months, you're going to lose half this team.
Dang.
Like, what the heck? I thought I'm a nice guy. Everybody likes me. We're doing this for a great cause. He's like, no, man. And then he gave me this metaphor. You're living at 60,000 feet and they want you to land the plane because they live on the tarmac. And
Yep.
your head's in the sky about the vision, the dream, but you're driving your team away. And I had no idea. I was so unaware. I was clueless.
Yep.
That was a game changer.
Yeah, man. That is huge. Well, and it's the same story too. So off like the mentor or the guide who comes in, and when you were hungry, and you're describing, like, I think even from our prior conversation at Urban Egg, like you're one of those guys that has drive off the charts, right? Like you really, you're hungry, you've got drive, you go all out. That's attractive to you. Um, but you also want to learn. You're curious. You're a learner, and there's a humility there that you probably had your teeth kicked in enough to where you got some of
Yeah,
that.
right. Exactly.
So,
Leaders I respect, I think John Maxwell has the quote where it says you can impress people from afar, but you can only impact them up close. And after I learned about the great speakers who also didn't live that way behind the scenes, after I got, over the drunkenness of, oh, it's a leader. Oh, I love leaders. And then I would be treated bad by a leader. I pick them up from the airport and they're not the same guy as they were on the stage. I'm like,
yeah,
oh crap. Then I met leaders who were vulnerable on the
yeah,
stage and off the stage. And that would help me go, oh, dude, you don't have any of that. You are not transparent. You're not vulnerable. You're just driven. You're just perfectionistic. You're just hardcore, man. And you like these guys who are honest about their weaknesses. You need to grow in that. And so I would see it and then I'd go meet with them. I'm like, dude, how do you do that? How do you
yeah,
get for lack of a better word, how do you get naked on stage without getting naked? Like how much do you share and how much is too much? And I was like, and I would tell him, I was like, I love it about you, but I don't know how to do that. It's not where I come
yeah,
from. And I would just see that and I would beg them for a lunch or a coffee and be like, how do you do that? And
yeah,
and and later I would say halfway through my time of leadership, that became my signature.
yeah,
Not I would keep the drive, but I think people would say because it was a core, it is a core one of my core values, be real. So transparent, real, but real is the word I use, and I copied it from these mentors and people that I liked, and I was like, man, they're just so real. I trust them. I like them. I got to get real. I got to be more real on stage, off the stage. I'm going to copy them because I like it. It works for me. I bet it works for a lot of other people.
all right. So you work with leaders, right? So one of the gifts that you have to give, generally when you're reforming an organization, you're reforming it through the leadership. Is that yes or correct? Correct.
Yeah, I want to talk to the decision makers, the people who are making decisions and or have close contact with the main team member.
And part of what you've got to give is what you've been given.
Correct.
And so I hear calling even in what you're saying. So this, you learned you were completely clueless at a certain point,
Totally.
right? Like, so you said that, like, I've heard you say that multiple times, like you really had no idea that you were destroying people.
Yeah. Can I just, I don't want to, you lead me, man, so I don't take over. But
No, go for it. Go.
in my coaching the last year, I've coached for 20 years. I've been trained in Chick-fil-A, in nonprofits, in denominations. So I've been officially a coach, but on my own coaching, it's only been this last year and a month. Can I tell you the last 5, I'm talking about owner of companies, owners of Chick-fil-A, people
Yeah.
that are wealthy, and then a pastor of a church who's super humble, all of them, every stinking one of them, don't know something pretty big that's going on in their team until
Yeah.
we dug in.
Wow.
They're not crazy bad people. I don't sign up to coach. I mean, I haven't yet signed up for a crazy evil leader. So these are people that want to do good. They pay for development and they're unaware. And so I'm finding that that experience I had is really way more common, even after Brené Brown's been around forever, even after TED Talks have been around forever, even after all these assessments have been around for 10, 15, 20 years. Man, dude, people still don't know what they don't know
Yeah.
because they don't have a mechanism to ascertain that. They don't have a pattern, a rhythm to see how they're doing at the top. And so some of them are so hungry, they'll pay a guy like me, an outside guy, to hold
Yeah.
them accountable. But I'm just telling you, I'm amazed that I'm telling you, it's probably exaggeratory, but
Yeah.
right now it feels most leaders don't really know how they're doing.
Yeah. No, that's huge. And that moment right there brings us, I think, to the clarity, right? So we talk about Charlie the shoe shine man, and we talk about Fred the post office man. These are people who discovered their superpower and then started pulling that lever, right? And for you, that lever looks something like this, right? Like how would you put that? You're fighting against unawareness. Tell us about how you help somebody that's dealing with that unawareness that you're so familiar with from your past.
Yeah,
Like, talk me through it.
yeah, my favorite thing is to go, do you have a flow or a feedback mechanism?
Yeah.
And 2 out of 5 will go, well, we do a year review, we have a 360, and I'll go, okay. And I'll say, well, pretty much Gallup's done all the research and that's crap. It's too far away from any incidents or relational interactions where you made a withdrawal that bankrupt a relationship. It's too far away. 1 year from now, it's just crap. So we can look at 1 year now. How many numbers did you bring in? How many widgets did you sell? Whatever. And so that might be worth something to a board or to investors. But as far as the team goes and culture and turnover and morale, man, you got to have now time feedback. It's got to be last week you chewed me out in front of people, you disrespected me. I really can't stand what happened there. If you're waiting for a year from that, they're not going to tell you. It's just too far gone. You're not going to correct it. So I'm trying to get people who have feedback at all to go increase the mechanism of speed, make it simpler. We don't need 50 questions. So if I go to a company who doesn't do it at all, which happens all the time, I say these 2 things. Hey, let me create a quick survey monkey. And let me take 20 of your direct reports and let me ask them these 2 questions. It's this simple and this quick, and we can do it in 1 day.
Yeah.
How does Johnny help the team? Because I'm not just looking for what's negative, I'm looking for what's positive. And you know what
Yeah.
I find? Most leaders have never been told 20 things positive, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a dual-edged sword. It's not just what's wrong. Anyways, how do they help the team? And then how does Johnny hinder the team?
Yeah.
And then I'll tell them, hey, because it's anonymous, because I want to buy their trust, no one's going to know. Don't put in words you say all the time, like dude. If you always say dude, don't put it in the sentence because we're not trying to show the leader who said this. We want to keep it anonymous. We want to keep these answers brief.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a framework. When I read that with the leader, every time they have no idea how great they're doing. So it's a real encouragement. And I
Yep.
slow it down because they always want to go to the negative. I'm like, no, listen, man, what was awesome about what's on this list?
Yeah.
What stood out to you the most? What's encouraging to you? Dude, do you see how you're doing good right here? Dude, this is awesome. Have you heard this before? Almost every time, never. Some people on the team might
Man.
have write them a card or thank them, but it's rare. And then
Yep.
I go, okay. And then let's look at what we got to work on. These are the hindrances. And I'll tell them there's always a negative Nancy. There's someone who says, just you're crap. And don't pay attention to that. That's
Yep.
hard. But don't,
Yep.
and then there's always your best friend who says he's got nothing wrong. And we're not going to listen to him either because he's not helpful. We're going to take the average. We're going to take the mean of these statements. We're going to look at what's repeated over and over out of these 20 and go, dude, this, like that word with me, I was, intimidating. I'm like, crap, 20 out of 35 people? I got a
Yeah.
problem I don't even know about. Right.
Yeah.
And there was more things I needed to work on, but that was just the first one. And so
Yeah.
for this leader, I'll go, what's the number one thing that's coming up in this list? Well, I don't listen to people. I talk over people. Okay, let's work on that one. Let's start asking more. Let's double your question ratio to your statement ratio. So we'll just pick something, whatever comes to the top, and say, hey, don't focus on the worst statement and don't focus on the statement that says you don't have any problems, because both probably aren't true. We're
Yep.
looking for the mean, looking for the average. And if you start acting on that, morale goes up because the leader is listening to the team.
Yeah.
And before you ever go give feedback, if you go first, this is how you set up a feedback culture. When the leader goes first, you get buy-in. The speed of trust is just through the roof.
Yeah. Dude, it's so fun listening to you talk about this, because this sounds like the magic that happens when you get involved. That's what I'm always looking for. Like, what's the spark? Where does the magic happen? And it's bringing that revelation that was brought to you to other people who need it. And it makes me ask the questions, because I feel like you're coming in, the question you're asking to the leader is, do you know the secret inside your team? Like, that's the question, right? Do
That's
you know the
good.
secret?
I like it. I like that. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, there's a secret. There's a secret inside your team, and you don't know it.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
man. And
there's a
then
there's a
mechanisms.
leader who had a number two, number three, and he's a real nice leader. And the team doesn't like that number two, number three. He knows a couple people don't like him,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know the whole team does. And I don't either, because I'm not in that space.
Right.
So we do a feedback with the team on that person, and he's just shocked. He's a 20-year leader. He's super smart, super humble.
Yeah.
Look up to him
Yeah.
in all kinds of ways. He's unaware because there's no mechanism for trusted
Right.
feedback without getting judged or demoted or
Yeah.
blacklisted, or there's no safe space, no psychological safe space to do this. So here's the two things. One, the leader becomes aware of a problem that's in the team for a long time,
Yep.
and he doesn't know. So that's what that mechanism. The second thing is, though, the unfun meeting he has to have with that person about that report.
Yes.
And that person weeps and cries and is offended. And this is the powerful question last month that I'm taking away. Why did you wait so long?
Yeah.
I didn't know that everybody hated me. I didn't know I was doing this to the team. I could have
Yep.
fixed this 6 years ago.
Yep. Yep.
Whoa.
Yep. Yep.
And the leader who's smarter than me, richer than me, and well more influence than me goes, this is a breakthrough in my leadership. I can't believe I don't know this. And I can't believe I hurt this person because I didn't develop them, because we didn't address their weakness.
Dude.
I was like, this is why it's so important, bro.
Folks are going to resonate with this, man. Like, that's, and like there's what I see for you is you're kind of a team whisperer. So the advice that you're giving is, hey, you need mechanisms for feedback. And it needs to be not on an annual basis, right? That's what you're saying to me, right? Because I don't actually have I think, a good mechanism in place myself. But you're saying this also to anybody else that's out there. Like, there needs to be a speed of feedback, and a mechanism that facilitates that.
Yeah. In a large team, I would never promote a leader until I've done this. And so
Yep.
that was a way we would trigger them happening, instead of just going, well, 90 days, everybody does it. And it's just this task. And then we're just rushing through it because it's another crappy thing we got to do in the machine, in the whirlwind.
Yep.
Okay, no. Every time a person moves up, we're going to check the team. What do you
Yep.
think happens on the team when a 16, a 17, and 8-year-old gets to speak truth to power in a safe way, and it limits that leader from moving up? Well, what do you think just got incentivized? That leader better not be an a-hole to that team.
Yeah.
And that kid goes, I can speak truth to power. Yeah, they got this mechanism. None of these leaders can move up unless they're influencing you in a positive way.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a powerful team alignment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's builds trust. You
Yeah, bro.
don't move up without a feedback loop, and everybody knows it because they're asked all the dang time for so many people. Hey, how's Johnny doing? Hey, how's Larry doing? How's Jesse
Yep.
doing? Da 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 da. And they're like, what? They care about what we think about the leaders? Yeah, around here they don't let them move up if they're doing some stuff on behind the scenes. Whoa, bro, I want to be on this team.
Yeah. Yeah. So this sounds like it applies more to larger teams. Like what's the typical size of a team that you're helping to improve?
I mean, the smallest team I've worked with so far is 7 people. But I think once you have 3 people, I mean,
Yeah,
really, it's one person if you have 2 people. But if you've got a team of 3, this is something that you may think, well, we're really close. We're all in the same office. We don't
yeah,
even have cubicles. Okay. But I just have been around a little bit, and I'm like, people don't get real because they're scared of what happens if they do.
yeah, yeah. And then there's plenty of other reasons why they don't. You know what I mean? Like they don't think it's relevant or that anything will happen.
They
You
don't know
know,
how. They don't have
they don't know
language.
how.
But once you systematize it to say this is culture, we want to know
Yeah,
how we're doing. We do it with the guest. Hey, give us some feedback on your experience. Well, if you treat the team really well, you get the guests thrown in. And so
yeah,
anybody who's trying to grow guests or clients, I'm like, why are you not checking on your team? And it's not just the negative, but it's the positive too. I think it's Denny Meyer from the table. He's like, guests come second
yeah,
in a high hospitality culture because you take care of the team, you're going to get the guests thrown in. And so that's the focus. Well, feedback's a part of that. It's not just the negative. Again, most people, when I ask them, when have you ever been told 10 positive things about your work? They always say never. When it's
yeah,
so you're
yeah,
doing 2 at the same time. You're doing, man, this is where you're contributing. This is so awesome. And here's where you're hindering. And even in that, I'll give them grace and go, if you read something crazy here and it's a lie, I'm not asking you to worry about that because there's always
yeah,
people who can lend. And then I'm also not going to let you be drunk on your friend who says you're perfect. He's not helpful.
yeah,
Let's look at the team. What's the mean? What's the average? What keeps coming up, dude? That's how people experience you. And then I'll even give them this one because I'll be like, listen, it may not be who you really are, but this is how you present.
yeah,
This is the experience, the total sum experience of how people deal with you. We've got to make some moves on this. And then they'll break down sometimes like, I don't even know how. And then we'll look at it and we'll go, okay. So when you come into in my framework, it was restaurants. But if you come into the store and you don't say hi to anybody and you just go to your office and you put your head down, that's not helping you. Right. So we were
yeah,
just like, before you start your shift, before you end the shift, you're going to go around and say hi to everybody. You're going to
yeah,
give them a high five. You're going to say hello. Like these are so basic for some people, but it's not common sense for a lot of people. And it's like,
nah,
hey, man, you've got to start doing some tactical, practical ways to communicate you are a leader that cares.
yeah. Yeah, man, it's so true, and I think my friends over at Turning the Corner HR, so Liz Rashal and Kendra Prospero, um, they talk about uh, this kind of gap where we put people into leadership without equipping them, and that's on us, right? Because just because they were good the layer below, good at their job, and then move up into leading other people, there's often really undiagnosed gaps, and they could be simple, like what you're describing, right? Like very simple gaps, and relatively easy to address, right? But it's just there's no mechanism in place, and so they end up, you know, hurting people. And
I saw a leader who was sharp. She was college age. She was smart. She always dressed real classy, and she's sharp and she's a great talker. I was like, boom, we're gonna move her up. We got a hole over here.
yeah,
Let's put her over this department. Man, I was like so excited, and I believed in her, and I liked her. Horrible leader,
yeah,
horrible. Couldn't
yeah,
run the team. Couldn't manage things. Let the department fall apart. She could communicate. She dressed sharp. She presented well. She was a bad leader. And I was like,
yeah,
man, where did I go wrong? And besides that, we did train her for the specifics. What I never did was a feedback loop. And what I never did was go, hey, you know what would be smart of us is to let you do this for like 30 days before we give you your t-shirt and before we give you your raise and change your name tag. Let's test this out. And that
yeah,
became a mechanism we adopted for all of our locations after that, going, oh, we're going to do practice runs on every person that's going to move from a task leadership, because she was a trainer, so it's really task oriented, one person. Before we give them 5 people or 15, we're going to make them do a practice run. And they had to do 3 to 5 practice runs with the team so we could see the team dynamic. And they had to do a feedback loop. And before that, we didn't. We just like, oh, they're smart, they're sharp, they're on time, let's do it. And dude, it's embarrassing when I had to go to her and I'm the one that gave her her shirt and take her shirt back. Because at each
yeah,
level of leadership, there's different uniforms. And I was like, I messed up. I like you
yeah,
and you're smart, but you're not taking care of these people. We got to pull
Yep.
you down.
Yep.
That sucked, dude. That's on me.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
bad leadership. So
Yep.
once we implemented a feedback mechanism and we're going to practice how you do with people, and you have to earn it, and we're going to watch how you do, and we're going to go check on the team. It takes a lot more work for us, but in the end, the ROI is incredible.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. It sounds to me like part of the gift that you have to give. So again, part of this is naming. It's advice for people on what to implement themselves, but it's also presenting you as the person who gives a certain tangible gift. It sounds like part of the gift you give is a culture of feedback. Correct? So not just a feedback event, because a feedback event is not enough, but like you help people create a culture of feedback.
Yeah.
That's one thing, and that's a gift, right? Like it's one, like I could say, hey, I want to create a culture of feedback, and maybe I can do it. But the shortcut would be I hire Jesse and he helps me build a culture of feedback, which is awesome. And then the second thing I think is accountability to the findings of that feedback, right? So accountability, I've got personally, I have every 2 weeks I meet with a coach. His name is Nate. Holler out, shout out to Nate Ulrich. He's my guy. And, he holds me accountable every other week to, he's got a gift of discernment. So he's like, okay, I've discerned, right? Let's discern together. What's the big thing you need to be focusing on? And it's like every 2 weeks, I know he's going to ask me, did you focus on that? How are we doing with that?
Yeah.
And I grow, and things happen in my organization because of that 2 week cadence.
Right.
I picture that you are finding out you're an advocate of the team. I can tell that you're an advocate of the employees, of the people, and you want their findings, what their lived experience, you want that to impact the decisions that the leaders are making.
Yeah.
And so there's the revelation, which is the culture of feedback, right? The mechanism for getting continuous revelation. Then there's accountability to change. And is that fair? Is that the two parts of the equation?
Yeah, I mean, you're better at language and framing than I am, so you're helping me. But I know a lot of people want to divorce or divide up leadership development, culture, team dynamics, communication. I know that they are separate things, but really, man, I feel like if I just went after a leader and I go, hey, for your development, do this, I'm going to get teamwork. I'm going to get culture.
Yep.
I'm going to get communication all thrown in. Because in the life journey of a leader, it's you got to lead yourself before you can lead others. To lead others, then you lead teams, then you lead orgs. Well, you can't lead yourself if you don't know yourself. There has to be a feed mechanism, and you can't lead others if you don't know them. So when you're asking them about you, you get to know them. When you're asking them about you, you get to know you. So you're leading yourself. So when you lead yourself well and you lead them well, you get culture, you get teamwork, you have communication. So I know there are different things, and they're definitely worth all the million books that are given to them. But I could say, man, this is just leadership development. If I want to know how I'm doing as a husband, I've got a feedback mechanism. It's these 2 questions I stole from Gary Smalley or somebody in some book 20 years ago. Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how respected do you feel?
Yeah.
My wife scores me. And I say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how cherished do you feel? Dude, I can be thinking I'm rocking it, but most of the time I'm not. But I know right then, because I am not aware. I'm a dork dude who just likes to eat and ride his motorcycle, and I don't think about these things. And so I've got to ask that question, because if I can't know, I can't grow.
Yeah.
If I don't lead myself, I can't lead others. So it always is an inside out job. Leadership's always an inside out job. So, again, there's team, there's culture, there's communication, there's all of that. But if I just go leadership development, I got to know myself to lead myself. I got to know others to lead others. A feedback mechanism culture, a high rich feedback team is going to get all of that thrown in. It's going to be cyclical, because like high trust is going to be there. Communication. Oh my gosh, we're communicating the tough elephants in the room, man. We're killing those things. Oh my gosh, the leader gets feedback. Oh, so when they give it to me, I've already seen it modeled, embodied the value by the top, and they get checked by the youngest or the dishwasher or the kid at the bottom. I want to be on that team. That's morale. So to me, leadership development and feedback inside that, you get all these things people want on a team.
Yes. Dude, you believe this. You believe this in your guts, bro.
I believe it. There ain't no doubt about it. I've got too many money and failure stories about it. I believe it.
Yeah. And the second part is, right, like the feedback culture is great, but if there's not a mechanism in place to keep me accountable
Yeah.
to what I'm finding
Yep.
from the feedback loop,
Yeah.
then trust will start to go down,
Totally. In fact,
right?
there's a survey out there that says don't do these. There's a report, I should say, a finding. Don't do these 360s and these culture surveys, and then do nothing about it. Because the next time you do one, they're like, oh, here's one of these dumb HR things. Like, who cares about this? This is crap. Nothing happened last time. So if you're not committed to act on it, it's better not to do it because you
Yep.
lose trust in the team. Like, oh, there's just some little program, some book they read. But that's where I would say I know because I've been on high rich feedback teams for years, for
Yep.
decades. When you're committed to it and they see it cyclical and it's the speed of it, it's not once a year, it's not even every 6 months. It's some people it's every month, some people it's every quarter. It's different depending on who's growing. But when it's built in that you don't move up, you can't move up without one. By the time someone gets in my position, I had the most feedback loops in my organization of anybody. So I'd like
Yep.
I don't know, like 20. And somebody like, well, I only have one. I'm like, well, yeah, because I had to have one every time I moved up. And then once I got to the top, I kept doing them so that I could keep getting buy-in.
Yep.
I didn't need to do them, but I knew it was helpful. So here's a negative story. So I think I'm a pretty good GM of this one location. It's got 120 people. It's a $7 million organization every year, gross sales. I'm like, I'm a nice guy. I'm pretty cool. I do in these feedback loops, and I'm at the top of the chain. There's only the owner above me. And I'm like, I'm a nice guy. I take people to coffee. I care about the team. I know what sports they're going after, blah, 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 blah. And the feedback comes back. Jesse is nice when the shift begins. Jesse is nice when the shift ends. Jesse is a jerk in the middle. What? I went to my leadership team. I was so offended. And again, it's anonymous to protect them. I said, what? I'm a jerk in the middle, guys. What's the deal? Really? Yeah, dude. When that screen is red and the guest lines and the phone's ringing, dude, you're looking, your eyes will kill us, even if you don't say anything. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, guys, when do I do this? You tend to do this on Friday night when it's like the busiest. I said, okay, I'm gonna work the next 3 Friday nights, and you're gonna come up and you're gonna tap me and go, you're doing it. So I gave them language, I gave them permission. I'm the boss, I can hire and fire. Hey, when I get into that mode, because I'm not aware, I think I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
I said, hey, you're doing it. So Friday night, I'm all excited. I got my plan. I just go through Friday night. It's the end of the shift. I pull some three leaders aside that I trust, and they're the ones I like, actually. So I didn't even ask the hardest ones. I asked the easy ones, and they're like, no, you failed. Dang. All right, week 2, Friday night. I go for it. I'm like, man, I'm really focused. Like, don't squint your eyes. Don't be giving no sassy looks. I definitely wasn't saying anything. I was very focused. I was like, end of the night, I was like, how'd I do? A little bit better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, bro. Because when we get
Yeah.
stressed, we all have modes that we go in.
Yes.
So I'm like, dude, I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. Okay, Jesse, you got to laugh. You got to smile. When the line is the longest and it's the worst and you're disappointed in them the most, because we can't run it's not like a gym. We can't just play around. We have to it's a business. But what could I do? Okay, dude, I've got to like get ready for a joke. I got to throw some ice again in the craziest time when they would never think I would do it. I've got to have some kind of tactical, practical goal. So that night I did. I was like, okay, even when it's stressful, we're going to work hard. We're going to take care of it, but I'm going to throw ice. I'm going to throw the fry. I'm going to try to do a joke. I asked at the end of the night, this is 3 weeks, man. I failed 2 weeks in a row. Hey, how was it? They go, much better. Much better. You're not there yet, but much better. I'm like, okay.
Dude.
But what do you think happens with those people?
They trust you more.
And when I give them their feedback, are they motivated to do something about it?
Yes.
And when the kid in the dishes or the 15 or 16, whoever's the lowest on the rung, sees them get to check me and then they get to check them and then they obey it, dude, we have the lowest turnover of any quick service restaurant. That's the result. That's the ROI.
Dude. It's so beautiful, man. It's been so good to just listen to you talk about your calling. Like I believe you, man. I believe you. I believe in you.
Thank you.
This is obviously deeper than just some aspiration. Like this is you're giving the gift that you were given, which makes it potent when you do that. And so yeah, the effectiveness is there. So any last words for the audience, anybody that's watching, how I'm imagining as an owner, this challenges me. I mean, I'm a leader, you know, I'm a minority owner in my company, but this definitely challenges me in some ways because that is a vulnerable space to be in, like
Sure.
to put yourself out there. And there are moments where I've experienced that, but I think what you're showing me is you can't rest on the past. There's got to be, you know, this has to be culture, not just an action or even a season that you came through, but
Yeah.
it's got to be continuous. What other advice do you have for our listeners before
I
we go?
just think if you're gonna take people somewhere, a service, an offering, a product, if you're gonna take people, it's not just you in your office or you on a computer, but you have to use people. I don't know how you get away from not wanting the most out of your team. Everybody wants the best. How do you get the best? High trust. How do you do that? Well, the leader goes first. And when the leader's naked, they can get naked. Because here's the thing, a good leader is going to make withdrawals. A good leader is going to demote and fire people. A good leader is going to correct people. But before I ever get there, I'm going to encourage like crazy, but I'm going to go first. And if I go first all the time, so here's one tactical tool that I think if you're like, well, my team doesn't trust me, how do I do it? I can tell you every time how you can get the speed of trust going real fast. And I would let all my leaders know this. All of their feedback loops that are from 20 or 30 people, the only people who read that are me and them. So
Yeah,
the team member only sees their portion, right? But I have it all because I'm the boss, and then I want to develop this leader. But when I go to the team and ask them for mine, I post it. That's not what I ask anybody else to do.
right.
But I know people. I've been reading people a long time. What I know is that kid who goes, Jesse's a jerk, he's going to go to that list and go, did he edit? And when he sees it's not edited and it's in front of 150 people at that time, he's going to go, I don't know that guy. I trust that guy.
Yeah,
What the freak?
yeah,
That guy's crap is on the wall and
yeah,
it's staying there. And when I tell the leaders, I'll never make you do that, but I'm always going to do that. If
yeah,
I embody the value of whatever, here's how I think Andy Stanley says it this way: who cares what's on the wall? It's what matters. What matters is what happens down the hall.
yeah,
So your team norm could be, because we had team norms that were created by the team. We had one called deliver the mail to the right address. We don't talk about you, we talk to you.
yeah,
So if a leader does that and corrects that and lives that, and people can speak truth to power to him and nothing happens, that's what they're always going to be like. Who cares what's on the wall? Who cares what's in the HR program, the handbook? I don't care. What is that guy going to do next? That's what they're going to believe. None of us are perfect. And I have yelled at my team. I have done all kinds of dumb things. But then you got to go back and apologize in front of the whole team. You got to go back and own
mhm,
it. People aren't looking for a perfect leader, but they are looking for an honest one.
yeah,
And if you can embody the value that you want them to have first, like the whole Simon Sinek, leaders eat last. Well, I think leaders go first in the suck. If you post your crap, you can get them to own theirs one-on-one because you're not going to
yeah,
ask them to do this because you've
yeah,
got to go harder. You got to go louder. Then people will believe it.
yeah, bro. This was a treasure. This is Jesse Martin, y'all. You know, this incredible superpower and gift of creating cultures of feedback and then helping to um, guide people into accountable action based on that and create a culture of that as well. And so, thank you for sharing this. I think it's very valuable, and I really appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Workplace Delight, and we'll see you next time.